Hello, everyone. My name is Terry Burgess, and I will be discussing the 7-Eleven Japanese company for our first case study for BA 579 Supply Chain Management. Right off the bat, I just wanted to state how impressive it is that this company has achieved a complete market dominance in Japan. Achieving 21.7% of all convenience stores and 31.5% of all convenience store sales, at least going back to the data from 2002, is definitely a remarkable feat. Now, I will go ahead and dive into the first of the three questions posed for this case report. The first question is, how did 7-Eleven Japan's investments in the 5 supply chain drivers contribute to their achievement of strategic fit? In your opinion, did they prioritize certain drivers over others in their pursuit of a responsive supply chain? Of the 5 supply chain drivers, which include excess capacity, excess inventory, rapid delivery, information, and price fluctuation, it seems to be that 7-Eleven Japan Company focused the most on information and rapid delivery. In their own market dominant strategy, 2 of the 6 advantages the company lists focuses directly on the rapid delivery portion, including boosted distribution efficiency and increased system efficiency. By developing what the company calls combined distribution centers, which are distribution centers based on the storage needs of the products, including chilled, hot temperature, frozen temperature, and room temperature, as well as other technological innovations, the company was able to significantly decrease cost and enable rapid delivery of needed items while simultaneously being able to decrease the average number of delivery vehicles to each store from 70 to 11 from 1974 to 1994. By clustering their stores close together and by having these distribution centers close by, they were able to decrease delivery times as well. As far as the information component of supply chain drivers from its conception, 7-Eleven Japan has invested heavily in the latest technologies. One such system they deployed was the Total Information System. This system was in each store, and it linked to the headquarters of the company, as well as with the suppliers and the distribution centers going all the way back to 1979. As early as 1982, 7-Eleven was the first company in Japan to deploy the point-of-sale system. In the early 90s, they upgraded their connection from a traditional analog system to an integrated services digital network, at the time becoming one of the world's largest such networks. This information-first thinking and investment enabled stores to send requests to suppliers and distribution centers in real time to ensure product availability for their customers. Of note, I thought it was interesting how the focus on these 2 drivers really complemented each other. It is hard to separate one from the other in many regards. Without the technology, for instance, the rapid delivery would be near impossible. Now to move on to the second question, which was, can you provide examples of interesting cases where businesses have structured their supply chain to improve one or more specific drivers? For this question, I wanted to focus on something I have personally seen while recently shopping: digital price tags, also known as electronic shelf labels. This opens a ton of possibility for retailers in the area of price fluctuations. Not only is it more efficient to update these labels than to pay a worker to manually print and change the labels every time the price changes, retailers could potentially change pricing during peak hours or offer a discount during slower hours, undeniably having effects on supply chains and when items need to be delivered to the stores. Now, I know this isn't as direct an implication on supply chains as may be intended for this question, but I found it fascinating enough and thought it would be useful to include here, and look forward to any classmates' discussions on this issue. Now, to the third and final question. What suggestions would you have for 7-Eleven to replicate the level of success they've experienced in Japan within the United States? Discuss the strategies and adjustments. It seems like the company is, in my mind, is already doing a fairly good job at improving the 7-Elevens here in the US. They have implemented some combined distribution centers in the US, mostly focusing on fresh food items. And they are supporting a majority of the store network, which has improved some metrics such as inventory rate turnover, though their numbers still lag their Japanese counterparts. Overall, I think it unlikely for 7-Eleven stores in the US to meet the growth and profitability of the model currently working so well in Japan. The US is a huge country compared to Japan, which is much more densely populated, making the combined distribution here in the US less effective with a spread out population. Also, Americans are much less likely than their Japanese counterparts to be walking versus driving on their daily commute. Therefore, foot traffic will likely always be less in American versus Japanese stores.